Okay, so I'm just going to start recording some videos on what I'm working on at any given moment. So here I'm in the editor, and what I'm working on is the basically the board generator. And the board generator allows for me within the editor to see if I clear this and I go to coordinates here. I can grow, shrink, grow, shrink. Now when I get shrunk it down to completely zero like it is now, once one has been created at that location, this needs to disappear. Yeah, I'm going to grow that, right? And then if I move to another coordinate position, right? Now there's no indication of it being moved right now, but if I grow it now, it'll go here. Now if we look at something and I create in the coordinate system where a square would be, see the problem is it's creating it not in the right locations, right? So one between this coordinate and one over in this coordinate, these are too far apart. There's a big gap. These are the right sizes, but the this here needs to be together. And this here looks pretty good to me in terms of like where these are aligned, but this second row, every second row needs to be shifted over for this to be shifted to here. So this needs to be shifted over this far instead of being here. It should be shifted over all of these, and they should be connected, and these should be connected instead of being that far apart. So that's what I'm currently just getting right. Because that would look good. Now, the logic itself, if I clear this, right? When I generate a board, right now I've been using this here. Not true. I've been using this here, width and depth, in the board creator script. For the board view here, it grabs the width and the height. It's named differently there, I think, but basically when I do hit play, it'll generate one automatically, like here. Now, when I hit play, that generates, and these are all in the correct positions, right? It's just when I'm trying to do it in the editor, when I stop the play button and I'm going to the coordinates manually here in this script, in this tool, I'm just not using the same math. So the math that I need to use, So the math that I need to use is, the logic or the general way it works is in here. So what I need to do is I need to take this. A lot of stuff has been commented out because I've refactored it. But I need to take this, which is in the board view. This is what gets generated when I hit play. And I need to bring it over into here, basically. And this is the board creator. And the board creator, see the clear button will clear it. Let's see here. When I hit create on a tile view, if I go in here, tile view is going to create it. It's going to instantiate it. Get or create, grow single. Trying to see where that, because basically it's almost like I need to double the logic. I could probably bring that into one spot somewhere because it's working in one spot. I'm looking at having to recreate it, so it'll be like kind of like a redundancy. I'm trying to remember where it is now. Tile view. Here it is. Match. Yeah. So when it gets created, right here, I do a create in the tile view, And then somewhere when I do this, instantiate, return the instance of the tile view. Oh, that's actually in 1 second. Tile view here. I'm a little lost. Yeah, anyways, it happens in the match. So when the match in the tile view itself, this is where it's happening. So what I'm doing is here, what I'm doing is I'm placing it and then I'm replacing it again, because this here was my old code. Theoretically, I should get the same result when I do this, because it's doing transform local position and transform local scale again down here, and it just puts new, so it changes it. So theoretically right now this is what's happening. Now, position is a vector 3, x, y, z. And then what I do is I just put position into its where it should be. Right? So I just took these off, so what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and give it a quick test. So I'll save that. There's some errors, but when I clear them out, they're fine. If I go to Board Creator and I go back to 0, 0, when I do a grow, boom. Now if I go back to, if I do 0, 1, grow, boom. So that's still basically the same thing I had before. If I go here, boom. So same problem as before. So even though I commented those two top ones out, they weren't being used anyway, because I was overriding it at the very end of that part of the script right here. Right, so I took these out, but I was redoing it here anyway. So this here is going in here. Now, what's going on here? I'll zoom in a little bit so we could see it. Position X, point, yeah, so I'm taking point X and I'm multiplying that by 351, which is the, so a hex is not, a hex isn't, the diameter of a hex is not exactly like a circle. A circle will have the same diameter all around it. But on one side of an X, of a hex, it's a little shorter than, the width is shorter than the height, say. So the width of a hex is 0.351 meters, which is a foot, right? So if you, because everything in Unity is a meter, this is basically a foot. So I have each hex is to represent 1 foot. I believe that's what I wanted to do. No, that's not even true. No, I have the hex. It's hard math. So what I did was, it's not a foot, it's actually 1.33 feet. Because I really wanted for a character, yeah, I wanted a character to have a 4-foot circumference, but I wanted that 4-foot circumference to have 3 hexes. So a character will occupy 3 hexes, like 3 tiles in diameter. So he'll be basically on 1 tile in the center, and around it he'll have a circle of hexes as well. He'll also occupy every tile around that 1 tile that he's in on the center of. So that's 3 in diameter. And in order for that to work, and in order for that to maintain 4 feet, because I want my characters to be relatively like normally scaled, because I want them to occupy 4 feet of space, that would mean that I would have to have each tile represent 1.33 feet. So 1.33 feet in meters is this. So what I do is, if it's at 0, 0, so 0 on the X, And this coordinates are points, which is just two integers, right? X and Z. And that'll represent the grid. So if I'm at 0, 0, and 0 being on one of the x's, it'll be 0 times this, it'll be 0. But 1, like if you're at position 1 on x, times this will be the actual location it needs to be placed in the game world for that to be properly placed. Then what I do is I take that value, say it's at 1, I take that value and I do a floor. I think this is the issue. I shouldn't be flooring it. Whatever this is, modulo, is that a modulo? Divided by 2. Not sure about this. And 1.755. Now, where did that number come from? 1755. I have it written here. Now, what was that? I don't know. I can't remember now. I didn't write what it was. But I'm curious. I want to see what happens because we have space in between each one. Right here we have space. So this here would be at 0. And this here would be at, see, this is at 5.265. But it should be that number I was just saying, 351.351 meters. It needs to be over here, 351. So I am wondering if what I'm doing is if I'm taking this and I'm multiplying it by this, or I'm flooring it, something's happening. So I just want to see what happens if I do this. Now, if I really need to, I'll go figure it out in the one that's actually working and try and kind of like reverse engineer it and see. But what I'll do is I'll come back to my board creator. I will clear it. I will go to 0, 0 because that one's working fine. And I will grow it once. Then on X, I will go over 1 and I will grow that one. Boom. It works perfect. Now what happens if I move over another one? 3. I grow that one. Oh, I think I went too far. I go 2 and I grow that one. Yeah, so you see, each increase in the X properly places this thing. Right? And the values get put into the tile view here. So each tile contains its coordinates. So I could always pull from the tile whatever global space. I'll be able to, convert the tile coordinates that are on each tile, take the coordinate from the tile if I need it in the game, and apply it to whatever object needs to go into that center of that tile, into the world space coordinates. So this works. Now, what happens if I go back to Board Creator, I go back to 0, 0, but this time I move up 1 here. It's not over, right? Now, it's in the right spot here, but it needs to be carried over. So what I need to do is I need to detect, are you an even number or an uneven number? Because this is 0, 1 would be uneven, 2 would be even. So when it's uneven, it needs to be shifted over by this much for it to work, right? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I can't delete it because it's in the, it's going to be in a list, each one. So I have to, I can't just individually delete it. I have to clear it completely to make sure this test is good. So what we'll do is we'll do that. So I'll go ahead back to 0, 0. I won't put them now. I'll go there. And the problem is here. It's in the, no, it's not. It's still here. The height here is good, right? We know that. It's 304, right? 304. Where did I come up with that number? I can't remember where I came up with that number either. It could be in the BoardCreate. No, it would be in the other script there, what I was looking at. Anyways, so here we go. So now what we want to do is we want to check floor. This is what floor is going to do. What is this? This is probably half of this. That's probably what it is. And that's probably why. See, if I take 0.351 divided by 2, yeah, that's half of that. Problem is I'm multiplying it, which is not what I want to be doing. I want to be adding that. But what I'm wondering is what math floor does and what this operator is, because I haven't touched this script in a while, and I kind of forgot. So what I do there is I just do a little Google search, and if I just specify C#, because sometimes let's see here, what does this do? Math floor is a match class method. This method is used to find the largest integer, which is less than or equal to the passed argument. Okay, so that won't work because it's going to return an integer. I think. Yeah, you see? See, if I have 12.9, it's going to return 12. Right? And that's not going to work because it'll return 0, because each time it's only going up by a tiny amount. Right? 351 is nothing is rounded, everything is in float. So floor will not work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, it does it on point X. But point X is an integer. So this entire operation is pointless. I want to pull this out. I'm taking this position. What does this do? I want to see what this does. So I'm going to go back to my internet, and I'm going to do C# on that and see if it pulls anything up. Yeah. Tutorials. Yeah, just putting the I feel like it's modulo. I think it's called modulo. There it is right there. Let's see what it is. Let's see if that says what it is. Modulo. What does a modulo look like? Arithmetic. Here it is. Arithmetic operator except the and the beginning in C#11. You can define checked variants if defined check. Check keywords. For more information on checked or unchecked operators, arithmetic operation except for this and unary plus operators support our checked operators. So this is not a checked operator. That's what it's saying. Check will give you, I guess, true or false. An unchecked operator generally doesn't throw an exception. The overlap behavior. Point, right? So x, y, point. Checked. It's not even there. So let's go see what the this one. No, that's not the one, is it? I can't remember now. Jeez, I'm having a brain. What is the percentage? Remainder. The remainder operator computes the remainder after dividing its left hand. Okay. So it's, okay. So for the operand of integer types, the result of A remainder of B is a value produced by A minus A divided by B, okay, times B. The sign of a non-zero remainder is the same as the sign of the left-hand operand as the, okay. So let's see here. 5 remainder of 4 is 1. 5 remainder of minus 4 is 1, yeah. Minus 5 remainder of 4 is minus 1. Yeah, because you're adding these. So the output of this is basically the remainder. I understand. Right. So that's how I'm figuring out if it's every second line. So this is good. Because if it's every second line, right, if I'm at 0, 0, grow, and then here I'm at 1, grow. See, 1 remainder of 1 is 0? Remainder of 2. What I do is I take this and I add this. And what I should be adding is this. I shouldn't be doing a plus here though. See, point X, remainder of 2. I'm curious of something. If I keep going up, okay, they're still in line. They're not doing some weird sideways thing. And if I go to 1, 0, I do grow, and I go to 1, 1, grow, and I go to 1, 2, grow, and I go to 1, 3, grow. So they're all staying in line. So they're not. They could have been doing something weird as I went up in value, but they're not. This stuff is a bit of a pain because, you know, you got to scratch your head a little bit, but then once it's in place and it works, you don't have to touch it again. Now we know that, oh, it's because I didn't save it. Did I make a change of some sort? I think I brought it back is what I did. Okay. See if I go to battle controller or board or something. I think it was board view. Oh, I can't find it now. Let me go to board view. See? And I get the width, which is, yeah. Here I get the I value. This is the one I'm trying to replicate. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to bring it back board view. and paste it here, just so I know. This is what I'm trying to replicate. So this here is this. That's good. That's fine. That's all fine. So what I'm missing here is this part. And in board view, the I in this case is what is it? If I is 0, I is smaller than hex grid tile list length. Tile list length. It's the length of the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Length of the list 5 divided by. That don't make no sense to me. Why would the length of a list have any impact on this? Shouldn't, because that's not. See, what I'm doing here is even here I use it, the length of the list. And it cycles through it, right? So sometimes it's 0, sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2. Each time it goes through each one in the list. 1, 2, 3, 4 divided by the width. I have to think. Here I'm using 351 and here I'm using 304. Let me just bring this next to this so I don't have to go so far. I'm doing that. Width. Oh, I'm thinking. Maybe I'm getting this. I don't know what the point of this is. Maybe I'm using the wrong one here. Maybe it should be Y. No. Or maybe yeah. Because in the other one that's working, I'm saying width. I'm not saying. So I'll take this one out that I just put there, so I can get a reference of what works. See, it says width, and I might be making a mistake with thinking it's X when I'm saying width, but it might be this one. Because let me just go back here. Board view. No, because even here I'm using width. It should be X. Because on this one here, so this is the working code that I need to put here, and this is the working code that I need to put here. They're both using the I. This one is using, and they're both using width, and width up here works well because it's X, but see, if I'm using width here, I should still be using X. It's not going to work. I'm going to try it there because sometimes it's funny, but it's not going to work. So board creator clear, we'll zero these out. Eventually it'd be nice to have a better UI on that one there. I'm very confused because that works. Well, that works. That's what I needed. Now, I'm going to try something here. We're going to increase here, grow. We have grow area, which kind of just grows stuff. And they all work good. I mean, they all got their coordinates. Okay. Well, that works. All right, that works.